Hello, so in this video I'm talking about times when people are scared to take therapy because it's their last hope, and they say, I really want to do this therapy and I want to overcome my problem, but what if I do it and it doesn't work? I'd rather not do it and always have that hope there that it could maybe work, rather than do it and actually have it work. Now I do get this because I've been through it myself. It's almost like you don't want to take away your last piece of hope. You don't want your final you think this is the end, this is the last chance, and I don't want to risk it because it might not work and then I've got no more chance at all. But that is really a self-defeating thing, because what if you do it and it does work? Well, then you've got over your problem. And if it doesn't work, well then you can always find another way, because there's always another way. There's never ever the last chance, the final hope. People often see me as the final hope with driving anxiety, and in some ways I am, but actually what you've got to understand is that the reason I'm successful with it is only because I do what works. I don't just follow gimmicky methods. I actually let's get around this car. I stick to what works, and I know how to do it, and I know what works, and I do it properly. But I'm not your last hope, your last chance. There's always more chances. So my advice would be, if you really want to get over your fear of driving, but you may be a bit reluctant because you think, is this it? Well, you've got nothing to lose, because as you are now, you're in a lose-lose situation. You don't want to do it because it might not work, but some horses coming up ahead, but by not doing it, you've got the problem. So you've kind of lost either way. Why not do it and see? Because it works if you find the root cause, as I often say. As long as you find what the problem is truly being caused by, then it will go. And if you can't do that, then I can tell you why, because even if it doesn't work, I can explain why it didn't work. I don't just say, oh, that's it, it didn't work, you can't fix it. I know why it didn't work, and sometimes it may be something you don't want to hear, because it can often mean that there's something deeper going on, like you've got a sort of bigger problem, as it were, than you thought. But there's always a reason. You can never just say, oh, well, it didn't work and that's it. I'll tell you what some of the reasons are while I'm behind these horses. First of all, it can be because you've got much, much deeper childhood issues than you realise. And this doesn't mean that you necessarily have had a terrible childhood. It's just things happened that you've remembered and you're now locking them into other things. So it doesn't mean we're going to dig up something horrific. It just means there may be events that come up you're unaware of. Another reason that you can sometimes not overcome your problem is because of what we call secondary gain. And I've spoken about this in a video before. It's when you've got more to gain by having the problem than losing it. Just going to see which way these are going. Hopefully they'll go left. Nope, they're going right. Going the same way as me. That's it, they're the same compass. Yep, so I had to kind of look what I was doing there for a moment. So yes, there can be secondary gain where you've got another problem. Let me explain this when I get around the bend. So I'm having to be careful here because it's not the best place to be driving and talking. So yeah, your secondary gain is when, let's say you've got a problem driving, and I'll give you an example I've used before, but it's a perfect example. I had someone once who had a fear of driving, and it doesn't matter what we did, he just would not go. It turned out the reason they had that fear of driving was because, quite simply, they hated the mother-in-law, and they would do anything to avoid ever seeing the mother-in-law. So by not being able to drive, they didn't have to see their mother-in-law. So you see how that works. So you were never going to get rid of the driving problem, because the driving wasn't the problem, as they always say. It was the mother-in-law. That was the perfect reason for them never ever to go and see them, because they couldn't drive to get to them. So that's what a driving issue was. And the funny thing is, in that case, I don't know what happened with them because they didn't keep in touch, but if they overcame that issue with the mother-in-law, find out why they didn't like them and resolve that, then the driving will go. So you see, they could say, oh, my driving's incurable, we've never fixed it. It's not that, it's because driving is never the problem, but sometimes even what isn't the problem isn't the problem. It goes deeper. So you could have more to gain by having the problem than getting rid of it. So it doesn't matter, all the affirmations which don't do anything anyway, and all that positive thinking will do nothing, because you don't get the answer by doing that. It's not going to happen, because that wasn't the problem. It was all about the mother-in-law. So you need to resolve that issue and have some super duper relationship with your mother-in-law, and then the problem will go. Another reason it can be is simply that people can't use their imagination. Now, the imagination is the language of the subconscious. It's how you talk to your subconscious and how your subconscious talks to you. You know how when you have dreams that can be really vivid and wacky, that's how your subconscious mind speaks, in those kind of symbols and colours and algorithms and shapes. It doesn't just speak with words. Unfortunately, if it did, life would be easy, because you could speak to your unconscious easily and it'll be simple to fix problems. But it doesn't work like that. So some people just cannot access their subconscious mind. I've had times where I had a client once, and it's quite funny how they just cannot imagine anything. So you say something to them like, can you imagine, this and that and that, and they say, oh no. You think, well, can you do this? No. Can you do that? No. It's like they just have no imagination whatsoever. They are completely unable to access it. In that case, you need to work more on your imagination. I had a client once who he was really struggling with this, and I said to him, okay, an easy one, are you married? And he said, yeah, I've been married to my wife for 35 years. I think he said, okay, so I want you to imagine your wife. And he said, I can't. I said, what do you mean you can't imagine your wife? I mean, just imagine your wife. And he said, I can't. I said, well, just tell me what kind of height is she? I don't know. What colour are her eyes? I don't know. What colour is her hair? I don't know. You've been married for 35 years and you don't know what your wife looks like. Go and tell her that and see what happens. Maybe that'll knock some imagination into you. It's just funny how some people just cannot imagine a thing like, this is a road with lovely houses on, huge houses down here. You can sometimes say to people, you imagine a house. Oh, I can't. Come on, just imagine a house. Imagine a big house, a small house. Just imagine a house. You don't have to see it, just imagine it. I can't. I mean, if you said that to me, I'd imagine, well, this house here, a big house, white house, upstairs, downstairs, it's got a big staircase, whatever. I've got a great imagination, which is why I've made over 700 YouTube videos. But some people just cannot imagine, and if you can't imagine, you can't get your subconscious, because that's how you do it. And some people really struggle. So there you go, there's a few, I think that's 3 main reasons why people can sometimes struggle with therapy. But I just wanted to make this video because a lot of people do have this block where it's like, well, I don't want to do it because what if it doesn't work? So I hope that helps you to overcome that by giving you some different ways of thinking of it. Check out these other videos on the screen now for more help with your fear of driving and therapy. And if you want to work with me one-to-one online from anywhere in the world, contact me through my website, firstdrive.com. Thanks for watching, and as always, I'll see you again soon for more videos.